أوشك اليأس أن يغشى أمانينا.
Welcome back. We have in studio with us this evening Dr. Imtiaz Suleiman. We're talking about his recent visit to Gaza with his team from Gift of the Givers. We now reach the point where we talk about the actual crossing over into Gaza and what they saw there, what they witnessed there, and what they experienced there. In a few minutes' time, inshallah, I will open the lines and you'll be able to interact with Dr. Suleiman. We're running half an hour extra this evening. We're running up to 10 p.m., inshallah. And we will give you some time to ask Doctor questions and to comment on what he has said. And you can also interact with us via Facebook, Twitter, email. Those details will appear on your screen as the discussion progresses. And also various pictures will appear on your screen. These are pictures which Dr. Suleiman and his team have taken whilst they were in Gaza. Doc, you finally get to cross over.
Sorry, Maulana, I think I won't be doing justice if I don't make one, 2 points.
Go ahead.
One is, when the Egyptian ambassador told me that you will have no problems at the checkpoints and at the border, it was true. We went through every checkpoint smoothly. Nobody hassled us. We got our names with every checkpoint. We got to the border, to Rafah. It was easy. They were friendly. There was no problem. Getting in and getting out, that part they kept to their word. There was no issue. So the good points and the bad points, I need, as a Muslim, I have to mention both. Because that was fair. There was no issue coming in and going out. And then, of course, the other thing I have to mention is the Sudanese team. We need to take our hats off to the Sudanese team. I think they were admirable. They waited for 25 days to go in. They went up and down to Rafah. That's 11-hour journey. It's not an easy journey. It's hot. There's checkpoints. It's frustrating. Up and down. They were so determined. And after we got in, they got in at that time. And we actually worked for them to some extent. Some of our team members helped them, but they were a small team. But that was determination. And that people of Gaza, when they see that, they feel the love. Now, to answer your question, how is it when you go to Gaza? The first thing, they don't want to know that you brought aid, or you're a doctor, or you brought medical aid. The first thing is that you came. A person came, because remember they cut off. They cut off from the whole world. This is the only war in the world where a refugee or a victim can't leave the border. Nowhere in the world, in any war, a refugee is stuck inside the borders. They can't get out of the borders. How is that possible? Nowhere in the world. I use the example. Take Bosnia. Croatia, Catholic Christian, fighting Bosnian Muslims across Bosnia. They were fighting each other. Yet the Croatian government opened the border for Muslim refugees to come out of Bosnia and were hosted in Croatia, the same country that was fighting the Muslims inside Bosnia. And here, you got a Muslim country that reads the same Quran, that speaks the same language, that's exactly the same people. They even married across the groups on both sides. And yet, that border was closed. So when Israel was telling people, leave your homes, they were sent to a corner and they were getting massacred in a corner because no borders were open. But they believed in Hasbunallah wa ni'mal wakeel. So when you cross the border, you feel it as I felt it in 2009. There's a distinct change in the atmosphere. You feel the nur of Allah immediately you walk into this land because this is Sham. This is the blessed land. And you don't need to say Sham. You can just feel it. Your soul feels different. Your body feels different, the environment feels different, the atmosphere feels different, and you can see the nur in the heavens and the earth everywhere. It's just beautiful. We were warmly received by the Palestinian people. The first sign of war was in the waiting room. The ceiling was all down because the bombs took place right near Rafah. As we drove to Rafah, you could see the destruction all over. We got to Khuza. Khuza is one on the border town on the Israeli side. A town they virtually totally destroyed. A lot of people died in Khuza, and a lot of difficulty happened. There's a lot of stories. There's time we can even discuss the stories. But we went through, and we got into Khuza. Immediately, Palestinian hospitality. Dr. Malik again, the man from South Africa, he is from Khuza. His first wife was from Khuza. He was not married for long. In 2003, Israeli snipers killed her. He tried to get married the second time. He found a girl in Khuza. But he's in Saudi. Because he doesn't have proper documentation, he can't go inside to find his wife. He got married on the internet. He could only go in because he was part of a South African list, part of our team, and this is not a made-up or some false thing. He works for me. He's been working with me for a long time, since 2009. He's my man for the Middle East. So he came in officially. He works with Gift of the Givers. He's our official representative anywhere in the world. So he came with us. He saw his wife for the first time when he came with us. His wife is from Khuza. And As he was not, this is about the Palestinians, this is not understandable. If we lose a possession, a cell phone, a handbag, some fire hits one part of the house, we get very sad for how many days? Molana, this is something unbelievable. He's coming to Gaza after a long time. Gaza is his territory. He drives past, he said, let's go to Kumbis. Oh, my grandfather's house is destroyed. Oh, my father's house is gone. This side, left, my auntie's house is gone. Who says it so calmly? Can you warm? Imagine you going home and your house is all fallen down. There's nothing there. Absolutely no emotion. The house is gone, so the house is gone. End of story. And when you speak to other Palestinians later, they don't make a complaint about it. They said we spent our whole life earning this money to put up this one apartment. That's the whole house gone. This one apartment. In our lifetime, no matter how much we work, we will never be able to put this apartment up again. Hasbunallah wa ni'mal wakeel. Accept it totally, no complaints. You get to the grandfather's house and you just bring the spread of food. They're coming out of a war. And I swear to you, had you not seen the broken buildings, you would say there was no war in Palestine. Because the people's faces, their souls and their spirit refuse to die. They refuse to die. The streets are buzzing till 12 o'clock at night. People are walking in the beach because they came out now, out of closed area. They were all stifled for 50 days. And they were full of life, smiling. Who could do that after 50 days? Only a person who has iman, who has faith, who believes completely that what is ordained, and he can carry on with normal life the next day. It's not possible.
Ajib. Talking about this, a lot when the bombarding was taking place for the better part of 2 months, Western media carried on pushing this particular theory that the people were suffering as a result of the leadership in Gaza, and that this was coming at a cost to the Palestinian people because of political decisions of the leadership. Did you sense any resentment from the populace, from the general people on the ground towards their leadership?
I sensed that in 2009, definitely. In 2009, there was some uneasiness when I went there. I felt, the spirit, the atmosphere was still the same. It was beautiful when I went in. But there was something about the war and about the reaction between the people and the different groups. Actually, I spoke about it. And they got very annoyed with me. I said it in public. And I said, you guys can't even work among yourselves. You can't organize yourselves, and you expect the world to help you. And I said it in public in a media conference. People came to me, Palestinians who understood. They shook my hand. They said, we're too afraid to say this. Somebody had the guts to say it. I said, I speak the truth. If people don't like it, it's just too bad. And I didn't like Gaza in 2009. I'll be very honest with you. Something put me off. But you can't put your own feelings and say, we can't help the people because something put you off. But when I came in 2014, they asked me, what's your impression? I said, for the first time, I find you guys spiritual. I find you guys more organized. I find more blessings in this place. I find more goodwill among the people. I find more faith, and I find more action in the people. They said, you're not the only one who told us that. Everybody told us that, and we believe that ourselves too, that what you're saying is absolutely 100% true. You found the people completely accepting 100%. They take total responsibility for the war collectively. No matter what the world says, or no matter who wanted to say. They took, in 2009, it wasn't like that. But this time, yes, they all felt that it was something they stood for. They say, we're behind us all the way. It's our life, we believe, and we did the right thing.
Take us through some of the stories, Doc, and some of the experiences as you now actually started to work in the hospitals and meet with these people who were the victims of this onslaught for the better part of 2 months.
Some stories really stand out. I mean, this story I haven't said it before. Before I forget to say, you get so many stories you forget. And one of my doctors was a Hindu girl, Mogi Govender. Of course, she felt a little uncomfortable at the beginning because, a lady doctor, they're not used to seeing a lady doctor. And she's a surgeon, makes it even more complicated. There's only one lady doctor, surgeon, or gynecologist in the whole of Gaza. So when Palestinian women saw a surgeon, lady doctor, they went crazy. They came in queues for her. And she felt so acknowledged. Of course, the men were still a bit reluctant. They're not used to working with lady doctors. Mostly it's more male-dominated society, especially in the medical field. A couple of nurses, even in most of the nurses, So in the pediatric ward, my lady doctor, Asma Salu, was the only lady in the whole pediatric ward. And everybody starting to feel like, do they really know what they're doing? The South African doctors, and even the Mogi. But when the skills started coming out, she said in the end, when the head surgeon initially was sort of, well, it wasn't cold to her or nasty to her, probably just hard to understand that ladies come to this level. And she said, when he acknowledged her and shook her hand, it made her day. But she said what really made her day was when she treated a 70-year-old man. She said he had his beard, he had his hat on, he had his top on. She said he had his rosary beads and he was reading all the time. And when she finished seeing him, he took her hand, he put it into her hand and he clasped it and he said, thank you, thank you, thank you. Then he took his tasbih, which is reading for so many years, and he said, this is for you. She said she treasured that moment. She's a Hindu. She said, I got my lamp. I went and put that beads in a place of respect next to the lamp. I treasure the day I met this man because of what he sent through me and his attitude and his behavior. It made me feel so good. That was her story, which I haven't said. Whilst we were driving around, it's another story which I haven't said. We stopped somewhere to take a picture of a mosque. I mean, you can take 1,000,000 pictures and it won't be enough. All those pictures you see still doesn't carry the impact what you see inside yourself. So this man stops us, he takes out a blue folder. Now we didn't know what he wants. Does he want to sell us something? Then we see all bricks inside there. So we couldn't understand what he wants. Does he want us to buy bricks or does he want what he wanted us to do? No, he wanted to tell us his story. Our translator came, he said, this man wants you to keep this brochure. This is what he had, his life's earning. He had all bricks of different colors because they don't use paint. Bricks of different colors, red, yellow, this, that, and it's stuck on the wall. He said, see all this? It's my bricks. So he said, can I take you to the factory? I said, yes. Where's the factory? Behind me. I said, what behind me? There's nothing here. The whole building had collapsed, 12 or 13 floors. He said, that's not the problem. He goes, he shows us the spray, he shows us the dye, he shows us all the different things. He said, that's even not important. My factory is gone, it's not important. I want to show you something else. We didn't know what this man wanted, so we went down the steps, went down into the basement, and all the building is all shaky. We think this thing mustn't collapse on us suddenly. He said, come, walk very calmly inside. He takes all of us to a small hole like this, a small passage. And he takes us, he said, come inside there. He said, me, my family, and my staff were in that room when the bombs fell. This whole building collapsed, but that small hole got saved. And all 40 of us came out of there alive, unscathed, to the 12 or 13 floor building.
Allah.
He said the bricks is not the issue. This is the power of Allah. And then you want another story. The story was in Huza. On Friday, Jummah, before I come to that story, you know, we said what we lost in time, the 2 or 3 days we lost in Cairo, and the fact that we only had 10 personnel, we couldn't take 38. And out of the 10 personnel, me and Dr. Malik, we don't do medicine. We do everything else. I don't practice for 20 years now. And we do other things. But in those 4 days, because Friday is closed, and Monday to Thursday, they only work till 3 o'clock. And the week that we went, the one problem was, that was the week they decided to close because they worked the whole war. And after the ceasefire, this was the first 4 days they were going to rest, slow things down. And that's the time we came. Now, out of courtesy, they couldn't do that. But they couldn't work like how we work, South Africans work. You know, we do a lot of patients in one day. But anyway, we got into the groove. We worked in the morning in Nasser Hospital till 5 o'clock. Another hospital came and said, can you see some of our patients? We said, we finish 5 o'clock. Will your patients come at night? They said, yes, they'll come. We said, we'll work. So from 6 to 11 at night, we worked in another hospital. My guys started at 7, just after Fajr, from 6:30 onwards, breakfast, and then getting ready to start at the hospital at 8 o'clock till 11 at night. In 4 days, they saw 750 patients in that hospital. Plus, did 52 ops, and many of them big ops, and ops took a little longer because then they were transferring skills and teaching these people. And then on Friday, in Huza, they said, open up a clinic because the buildings are all broken. But Maulana, when you walk past, thousands of people come out of these buildings. No window, no roof, no door, no wall, open. This is their house. This is the only home they know. They will stay in that broken building with the risk of it falling on their head. A child peeps out from somewhere, a woman looks to the top, a man comes out from the other side, and just suddenly thousands of people came. And we said treatment coming to a broken building, the municipality was blown away. They cleaned it up, we put up all the rooms, and they came. In that few hours, 250 patients we saw before Jummah. Whilst the teams were busy, I was doing the walking, me and Dr. Malik. Man calls us, small cup of coffee, small coffee thing. Please come have coffee. You can't say no. You know they don't have much, you can't say no. Calls us to the coffee. He's standing holding a big photograph. I said, what is this? He said, you want an explanation? I said, yes, please explain me. said, when the tanks came, we point the borders on the other side. You can see the border right across. He said the tanks came to the streets. They captured 70 of us. The small children, they told them to go. The youth, they kept. There were 3 old men. One man was 103 years old. The second one was 95 years old. And he said, this one here, the picture, was 75 years old. They told him, okay, you old man can leave. So as they were walking, the 103, the 95, and the 75, as they walked a little further, he said the Israelis shot and killed all 3. This is the picture. An old man. What terrorist is this? Who can't do anything, walking stick, and they had the picture of that. But absolutely calm, no emotion. And then the most amazing story told by a 4-year-old. Children never lie. They can't make up stories. They only give in exact detail what happened. It happened in Dr. Malik's grandfather's house. Same Dr. Malik who lost so many houses, his family lost so many houses, this one house was standing. When the bombs were falling, the grandfather went through Huza and brought people closer. He said, you know what, maybe you guys will be safe because I got a big house. Come to my house. So they put all the ladies and children in that house and the men moved somewhere else. They said that will be safe. But the bombs were coming closer, closer, and boom, the bomb hit the house. But nobody got killed at that point. They said, you see, Allah is so merciful that when the wall was starting to fall, it started falling in slow motion. Where does the ball fall in slow motion? Ball, boom, wall just goes down. It said it fell in slow motion. All of us had a chance to get out of the house before we got trapped. And when that happened, the child says, my brother, 8 years old, his name is Badr. He went out first, but there was a lot of dust because of the tank shelling and the cement, the bombs destroyed the building, so all the sand comes up. So he said, my mother took me and she held me like this because I'm small. I sleep inside her. And my 2 sisters came out, but Badr went first. And other people from the house also, the 150 people, all went out. And he said, we went out, my mother, because in all the dust, my mother we were coughing and choking, but my mother managed to find my 2 sisters, and she found me. And we were all walking to the streets, and everybody was walking, and we were shouting, Badr, 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 and the tanks were coming. And we were shouting, Badr, Badr, but we couldn't find him, and we couldn't hear him. And as we were walking around, somebody pointed that the sun is lying in the side street. So we went to the side street, and as we were getting closer, he said, we saw Badr. He's on the floor. But his intestines were out. 8-year-old. And he was taking his hands and trying to put his intestines back inside his stomach.
Allah.
And he said he was doing this, calling somebody with his hand. And as we tried to get closer, the bombs fell. And then his eyes closed. So everybody around us told the mother and told us, a 4-year-old child is telling the story, told us not to go, rather save me and save my 2 sisters, and my mother must save herself, and we all cannot go there because Badr is already dead. What can we do? We can't do anything. So the mother turned around and walked away, leaving the child with the intestines out. But she couldn't move forward. She would have died also with other kids. So she had no choice. She walked away. And then a few hours later, when the bombing stopped and the tank stopped moving, the paramedics came. But when they came to Badr, his eyes opened up. He was still alive. They told the story now. The paramedics, he was alive. And all he said, please, in Arabic, water. He took the sip of water, his eyes closed, and his life left him.
Allah. Heart-wrenching indeed, Dr. Imtiaz Sooliman sharing his experiences with us from his recent trip to Gaza as part of a humanitarian mission with Waqful Waqifin, Gift of the Givers. We go for our final break. The lines are now open, 011 086 7700. That's 011 086 7700. When we come back from the break, we'll take the calls, inshallah.
فبالجهاد بنى الإسلام قوته